So, when choosing my expression for the thumbnail for this video, as you can see, I went with an expression I've never really used before, and that's confused. And I'm genuinely confused by this reveal. I honestly don't know what Warner Brothers is thinking. We're gonna break it down. It's so. All right, let's have a positive comment. So the positive thing is that I'm so glad that they're working so hard to advertise this film on social media. It's reminding me of the plethora of advertising and teases for Suicide Squad, which really ramped up interest in that movie. I would hope that they would do this for all the DCEU movies coming up. It's certainly fun to be able to be part of the process and to see it evolve, right? But you know what's not so fun? The roller coaster that is being a DC, entertainment fan these days. Because first, then we're like, do we like Joaquin Phoenix? Okay, maybe we do. Oh, it's like you keep going up and down on how we feel about this. And just recently, we got the first look at the film from them beginning to shoot, and we're like, oh, it looks pretty good. Yeah, yay. And now we see this test, and you're like, now it doesn't look so good. And it's like, also, especially when he drops the act in this little video, he's just like, so reminds me of Bill Murray. I'm like, if you're going to do Bill Murray, why don't you just hire Bill Murray to play this Joker, right? He seems to really be channeling Bill Murray from this time period when the movie takes place, the 1980s. Now, what you're looking at here is a camera test. Warner Brothers, as you can see, said Todd Phillips' camera test with sound. I like labeling it that way. It's very Hollywood, right? Very gritty Hollywood. And I'd be like, is this the test that didn't work, right? Like, I hope maybe there are other camera tests. Oh, that would be so wonderful. Be like, oh, Todd Phillips, you scamp, right? If he's like, just joking, we have other makeup that we tested. Maybe they're gonna have us see it all. I would love, please let us vote. Please let us vote on the Joker makeup. I mean, you have just started to film. Please don't do this. Please don't use this makeup. It's the camera test that they released. So, they released it publicly, so they must, for some reason, I can't imagine there's a single actual comic book current reader in the room when this was approved. Now, they do have a leg to stand on in terms of comic book authenticity, because in the 1950s and even to some degree in the 40s, this mimicked the style of how the Joker was depicted to some degree. Blue around the eyes, as you can see from these illustrations. So maybe, I guess that's where the blue came from here. He really does, this looks like a comedian who is having a nervous breakdown. He's just like, you don't like my act? You don't like my act? Well, how's this? And you're like, yeah, I was right not to like your act. I said you had no talent, and I was right. Way to prove it. That's how I feel. You can't even apply clown makeup appropriately. I'd be like, did you use a mirror to do that? And he's like, no, I didn't. I'm having a nervous breakdown. Boy, Todd Phillips is going to have a nervous breakdown if he messes this up. But this movie is set in the 1980s, so you would think that the makeup would reference the way the Joker looked at that time in the comics. By the way, if this takes place in the 1980s and Wonder Woman takes place in the 1980s, I hope there's a cameo or a reference, because that would be a ridiculous missed opportunity. And some of you might be like, but Grace, this is a standalone movie that has nothing to do with the DCEU. It's too complicated, Warner Brothers. You can't do that. You can't have your cake and eat it too. All right, so the real issue to me, though, here is that this is a Halloween 2019 release. I was very excited. That's like James Bond on Valentine's Day. This is matching the right movie with the right holiday. But this doesn't look at all scary to me, beyond what it might mean for Warner Brothers and their continued, missteps of the DCEU. This is only scary it should be to a studio executive and us fans. But, it just screams missed opportunity to me. Halloween, the new Halloween is getting it right. And when Danny McBride outsmarts you, Todd Phillips, that's really saying something. I think they should have gotten a horror producer. And also, Walter Hamada, took over the DCEU, coming from the horror division. So this should be his baby. This should be showing what Walter Hamada can do under the best of circumstances. So why did he bring his people in? What's Todd Phillips doing with this? I guess Todd Phillips maybe came up with it, so they're like, okay, you can do it. But I'd be like, I'm sticking, James Wan on this as a producer. He's a horror producer extraordinaire. Or I'd say, hey, Jason Blum, why should we compete? Like, let's put out an olive branch here, because Blum and Warner Brothers are competing right now in the horror space. I'd be like, let's work together and make the best Joker movie possible, right? I mean, also, it continues to feel very derivative. As many of you pointed out, I agree, the Heath Ledger length hair, but then you just totally miss the mark when it comes to the makeup. And I do agree that he looks a lot like Jim Carrey in Kidding, the recent Showtime show that is also not good. And No Country for Old Men, also Javier Bardem. It just doesn't seem very much enough like its own thing. So we're on a down loop right now. I hope something comes out soon to put us back up and be excited about it. But that, to me, this just screams disappointment. And you could say to yourself, oh, well, maybe Joker will be an awards fair film, right? Because it's got Joaquin Phoenix in it. But Todd Phillips is not an awards friendly choice behind the camera. So I don't see how that's going to come together. It's not like Spike Jonze made this movie. If Spike Jonze made this movie and this was the makeup, I'd be like, maybe it's going to work out. But I just don't have faith in Todd Phillips to be able, and Todd Phillips doesn't have that reputation, and that's just how Hollywood works, to sell this. He just doesn't have the reputation. A lot of times, things are sold on the strength of reputation, and he's doing a Spike Jonze impression. You know, Spike Jonze directing Bill Murray in a Joker movie, maybe we'd have something here. But now I have like an imitation of that, and so that's just, I don't know what to do with it. Well, I'm going to watch it, obviously, and many of us will. But I think that I don't see this being something that mainstream audiences really flock to during the Halloween season. If I were another studio, after seeing this, I would feel that there was maybe room for competition for the Halloween 2019 schedule. I would not be afraid of the Joker movie, to be honest with you. I'd be like, I think we can take it. We'll see how it continues to evolve, but I also feel that the DCEU continues to lack singular guidance, as of course Marvel has, and that continues to be a problem. And when they give their directors free reign like they're doing here, they're like, we believe in you, Todd, baby, you know, do your creative vision. And nobody says to you, are you just copying Spike Jonze? You know, like, call him on it. Call him on it. And in the meetings, be like, whoa, I'd just hire Spike Jonze if I wanted Spike Jonze. And they'd be like, good luck, he's not working anymore. I'd be like, I'm going to go convince him. I feel like studio executives don't remember like the old stories in Hollywood, they drive, well, although recently they paid a visit to Ben Affleck, but get in your studio car, go visit the talent and say, what's it going to take in terms of perks and studio in my checkbook here. But as we've discussed, Hollywood is really a mix of creative and business, and I don't think the DCEU has enough of a handle on the business side of these decisions. This also reminds me a little bit of Julie Taymor, you know, like somebody who's not a comic book fan deciding to get into the space and experiment with it like she did with Spider-Man, and that did not work out, and that should be a warning to anyone else trying to do the same. And I have some fear that Patty Jenkins is also going down this road. I think it's fine to play with this stuff, but you know, it's gotta hit the fans in the gut. The fans have to look at this and go, "That's the Joker," you know. And right, you know, I'm sure every time someone's like, "Oh, we didn't think Heath Ledger looked great at first," and et cetera, but and you know, maybe that'll happen, but it can't keep being the case, because more times than not, it's not the case. So what do you think? Write your thoughts down below. I mean, and also even just the idea of this, like some kind of thing being projected on his face, I think they could do better than that. I don't think that's particularly interesting or creative or new either. If you're gonna veer off course like this, you better really veer. And I don't see that. All right, write your thoughts down below. And of course, as always, you can check out some more videos right now.